Hey, 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 good evening. Oh my goodness. I am a couple of minutes late. This was a rough start. This was a rough start today. It's the first live stream at this place. So it took some figuring out what was going to be the right place to do it. And then I had to restart my computer literally a few seconds before if I was supposed to start. But I am on now. Let me see if it is set up on my phone as well. Let me just make sure it's working. Say hi when you come in. Say hello. Let me know. Okay, so I have sound. Excellent. Hope you're doing well. If it's your first time here, hi, hello. This is Nigerian XJW Speaks, otherwise known as Chiga. I come on live the last Sunday of every month around the same time, so 9 p.m. UK, and just sort of catch up on the month before, so to the month that is ending. Basically, some of the things that have stood out to me and the things that have got me thinking in the month. So for this one, it will be in the month of November. Grab a drink. Usually, it's like wine or something, but it's a tea kind of day today. So I've got my biggest mug cup of tea today. This is a mug from one of my exes who was obsessed with football. So it literally has a mug that said, where is it? Life without football? I don't think so. And he left it. So it makes a great big cup of tea, which is very nice. Which is very nice. I hope you're doing well. I hope everyone's doing well. I've got a list today that I wish I had more time to sort of flesh out. But you know what? That is the point of coming live. It's off the cuff. It's have a general idea of what I want to talk about, but then sort of see what comes up and freestyle it and get your input as well. Do I have a link for this? If I did want to invite someone to join in later, someone wants to call in, I'm going to post the link to that as well. So put the link on there. Okay, let's work through my list then. The things that have been on my mind in November, and the thing with this as well is that it's not just JW stuff, it's sort of everything that has caught my eye in the month. Let me see. There were some videos that I wanted to show you, but I think my son is still logged in here. I think my son is logged into the YouTube. So let me switch that around so that I have the right videos that I want to show you, if I can manage to pull them up to share. Just some screens of some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. So I'm just getting them ready. So there's this one. There's this one. Actually, there's quite a few. I am going to be in copyright prison today, but it's okay. It's okay. Just some interesting people. I've been doing all sorts. There we go. Okay, I've got them. Let me go back to screen again. Hey, John. Oh, that's good. You're on your laptop in Pennsylvania. Oh, that's good. What is the weather like at the moment right now? Are you in coming up to winter as well, just like we are here? Or do you have nicer weather than we do? So, yeah, let me know. Right, so this is in no particular order. I was just like brain dumping some of the things that have stood out. I am going to start with the one item that I said I would touch on at the end of my last video. So the case here in the UK, I think it was last month, where we had a 15-year-old who apparently they were recently baptized, and so they have, let me see, what's the word now, sickle cell anemia. And so they've ended up in hospital. It had been determined that they needed to have a blood transfusion. I mean, the fact that she had sickle cell anemia suggests to me, and I could be wrong here, but it suggests to me that this teenager is likely African, which is kind of close to home, right? So the judge had to rule sort of against her will that her life was in danger. I'm assuming it's a her. It could be a he. I don't think they were specific about that. But yeah, so the judge ruled that pilgrim country with the cold weather. Oh dear. If there's one thing I'll change, it's the weather, honestly. And I will get to that later on. So the judge ruled that they should go ahead. And in fact, the time that was spent deliberating in court, the doctor was saying that that is time lost. That is time that could have been really critical. It really could have gone either way. So it's you hear about, I mean, you know what the impact of the blood policy is, but maybe this is just me. In my mind, it's just like, okay, maybe medicine has moved up to such an extent where the impact of this isn't as much anymore, where there are options, where even though these people seem to have a death wish, they have options. And so it's a bit jarring when in the here and now in 2020, we are still in a case where someone doesn't have options. This is their choice, and the organization as normal inserts itself there, and you have a 15-year-old who is willing to basically martyr themselves because of the rules of some men. Of course, we are in such a country where people have options and have choices. So even if the judge ruled at this time that they should get it, they also put a caveat in there that maybe it's something that should be looked at for children under 16, because from 16 to 17, they get to have a say, even though the court can override it. Sort of younger than that, the court can decide then. So it's looking at, okay, maybe people that are a little bit younger. So in the case of this 15-year-old, to give them a chance to have more of a say in the future, which in theory, it's a nice thing. I just don't know how I feel when it's people in a religion like this that basically have them on a death wish. So it would be good to hear what happens next. But of course, her name or the name was protected, so it might not be able to follow the story. It might not be possible, rather, to follow the story and see what happens. But I really hope that a life has been saved because of this. And if that teenager at some point in the future wakes up, there will be that gratitude there for the judge and the healthcare professionals who were committed to their oath to save lives, to make that choice for her when, in my opinion, she couldn't think straight to make the right call. So that was the first one. The other thing I've got on my list, but sticking with the UK, seeing as we've just had that heavy thing, something a bit funnier that I haven't actually managed to look into, thanks to John Cedars. Apparently, a UK artist had done a recording of the Listen, Obey and Be Blessed song. So it's a guy called Alec Jones. I have to say, I recognize the face, but it's not someone that I listen to very much. So I thought that was quite something. So I am going to follow that up. They mentioned that he's been on Twitter as well, talking about it. Listen, obey, and be blessed. It is so bizarre to have a Watchtower song being made mainstream. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest that you should. It's just something a bit lighthearted, something a bit, completely out of left field. To hear that, if only people knew, listen, obey, and be blessed, how far they're pushing that. and what that's doing to kids in the here and now, but just something a bit funny. Okay, sticking with the theme of things being funny, slightly crazy, hopefully don't offend anyone here. So the US elections, right? So they happen this month, probably one of the biggest things this month because of how dramatic it all was. And quite frankly, some people will say it's not even a done deal. So sort of dominated definitely the first 2-3 weeks of the month. Of course, at the moment, the results are saying that Biden won. But what drew my attention is some of the US pastors and how they've been responding to it. I don't know whether to go with the word evangelicals, because that's kind of a big group. And as someone who still has friends, in fact, I would say probably most of my friends are still Christians who take it seriously. So I am wary about lumping stuff together, but there certainly seems to be a subsect of people who have interesting behavior and the way they've responded to this. So a few that I've picked up. So we have, this is one of the most bizarre things that I've seen. Kenneth Copeland laughing about the news that Biden won. It's so bizarre, and I just let me see if I can share the screen. If you haven't seen it, it's so funny. Right, just one moment. How do I share the screen? No, I want to share the screen. Let's see. I don't have two monitors, so I have to work with what I have. So let's see, Chrome tab, let's do, there we go. Not that one, there we go. So this is him sort of laughing at the news, and I thought it was hilarious. Right. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but
the media said what? The media said Joe Biden's president.
It's so bizarre. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And it just goes on and on and on. That is, first time I watched that, I was taken aback. And this is not the first time this guy has caught my eye. One of his other videos that I saw, let me find that. It's another one where he was blowing COVID away, right? Which clearly worked out really well. This was a few months ago now. So, and clearly the numbers are going up. So I'm not sure how well that prayer worked. Let me skip. So he is so this is on COVID-19. So this was, let me see, when did he put this video up? This was in March. So, and then he goes, the bit where he's blowing it away. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and then he was focused on the United States as well, which, never mind the rest of the world. It's just, as long as the United States is fine, everything's good. So it's definitely caught my attention. And then, okay, so I've seen, some of you have seen that as well. Then we have this wonderful lady, this wonderful lady, Paula White, who I'm sure you know, you've seen her as well. Let me stop this screen share and share this other one. So just a whole bunch of them being quite entertaining, which, you know, given what the year's been, you know, it's probably not such a bad thing. It's just when people take it seriously.
We break and divide every demonic confederacy against the election, against America.
So
who you have declared to be in the White House. We lose confusion into
I'm looking for the one where apparently she starts summoning angels from Africa.
with demonic confederacies right now, from Africa right now.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Let me.
Strike and strike, for angels have even dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now.
Yeah. 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 Angels from Africa, from South America.
In the name of Jesus.
And then you have the random guy who's just
They're coming here.
going behind her.
From Africa, from South America, angelic forces, angelic reinforcement, angelic reinforcement, angelic reinforcement.
Yeah. Has anybody ever tried speaking in tongues?
I hear the sound of victory. I hear
So yeah, that's going to be interesting when the time comes. I know, the guy working back and forth. It's all so bizarre. And then the last clip that I want to show, just along this topic as well, is, let me close these ones that I've done. Let me see. So yeah, the last one I want to show is some guy who actually prophesied that Trump was going to be declared winner 4 days after the election. Yeah, so of course it is possible to doctor them. Of course, absolutely. But when you have so many, I think this is the last one that I want to share. And certainly from my time attending church, I mean, nothing quite like this, but
the lots cast in the decision block.
Let me.
President, tell him that I'll be praying for him as I did for President Trump and President Obama. Also,
So actually, this one I'm just gonna start here because there's some good bits here too.
I wanted to really congratulate President Biden and tell him that I'll be praying for him as I did for President Trump and President Obama, also President Bush. All these years I've been praying for presidents, and I just want to say that I pray for your success. I pray for the success of our country, Trump and President Obama. But secondly, I really want to sincerely apologize for missing the prophecy about Donald Trump. I prophesied that Donald Trump would be president 4 days after he took the nomination. The first time, 4 days after he declared himself a candidate, I should say, the first time. There's no excuse for it. I think it doesn't make me a false prophet, but it does actually create a credibility gap. A lot of people trust me, trust my ministry, and I want to say that I'm very sorry for everyone who put their trust in me.
So I am going to stop that there, because actually there's sort of, to close out the section in a more serious note. He is the sort of, first of all, being very conciliatory and reconciling, which is definitely a good thing. We have someone actually apologizing for basically what he calls false prophecy. Now, you probably know where I stand in terms of these things. I have no way of anyone showing that they have some sort of insight into the future or some sort of divine channel of communication. But at least you have someone who is coming out there saying that they're sorry. I mean, it said it doesn't make him a false prophet. Okay, I don't know what else you would call a false prophet, but at least he is apologizing. And when you contrast that with what the governing body does, I mean, they gaslight the members. They tell them that it was their fault for having false expectations. They pretend as if they never said any of the things that made people think that the end was coming. I mean, just recently we have, I think it was Gareth Loesch doing a program where he's banging on again, saying that the events of this year and how the election wasn't clear cut is a further sign of things coming to the end. And when it doesn't happen in the time frame that they've said it will, just like with all the other times, they are not going to say they're sorry for it. They are going to blame the members for it, for having those expectations, even when sometimes you have things printed. You know, I have a video where I've shown screenshots of where they actually have, you know, links and things like that. Pagan, sorry, good for you. I am going to show these comments later. But yeah, it's been quite a lot. You guys stay safe out there. It's just that thing where you can't stop looking, and religion does. It's an interesting thing, and it's hard not to paint that broad brush. But when you see the similarities sometimes, and you wonder. I'm not going to make this whole video be about that. Okay. Still on the religious topic. So this month's JW broadcasting, I don't have the video for that. And the only way I've seen this is through when people do a commentary on them, because I am not going to go sit down and watch the whole thing myself. One section that really stood out to me, actually maybe two, but mostly one, it feels quite brought back memories for me. There was this African lady who was talking about how she has to be careful of what she watches. And, you know, there is something to be said for being aware of what you feed your mind with and things that will keep you in the place that you want to be. But it's one thing when it's coming from, it's you trying to better yourself versus, you know, I am having to censor myself almost like a child, because because there are some men somewhere who are telling you what you can and can't watch. And there was just something about her that and the sort of self-censorship and the nervous laughter and it just took me back to growing up and the fear and the everything that comes with what you would usually get on TV. Now, don't get me wrong, not everything out there is great, but there was just something quite culty and suffocating about the whole thing. Yes, I haven't seen Winston's one yet. I'll definitely take a look at that. But that really, like, you know, when you watch something that gives you the creeps and you just, like, I really don't want to be that. And then, of course, the music video for this month, that was exhausting. You had this person that was allegedly running the race for life, and they were in tracksuit bottoms and running all over the place. And that was partly funny, partly just a reminder of the grind that is this religion, the non-stop grind, the complete taking over of your time and everything. I just keep you on this wheel going back and forth, and anything that is actually enjoyable for you, anything that is for you is bad, and you want to avoid that. So that just sort of exhausting grind. If you haven't seen them, so like Jane has said, Lloyd and Winston did really good rebuttals. So yeah, if you can if you can stand it, if you're not too triggered sometimes, by all means, you know, that was a weird one as well that came off that. Okay, moving on from that one then. you know, the last few weeks, I have talked about what happened in Nigeria last month, where there were people protesting, and on the 20th, the government decided to basically shoot at the citizens. So what's happened in this month then? Because they have been not wanting to take responsibility for who gave the orders for the army to basically come out, have cameras turned off, lights turned off, and live bullets shot at people. So CNN did a report. Let me see. I've only seen it on the social media platforms, but I haven't sort of gone to look for it myself. But they did an investigation, full video, live videos. It's actually even been debated here in the UK Parliament for human rights and just the violation that happened. And so they're saying it's fake news. So it's still quite stressful. There's still quite a lot happening there. It's really disheartening. It is disheartening, especially when you want somewhere that's gonna feel safe, somewhere that, you know, it's a mixed bag in terms of my relationship with the country itself. But the events of the last year, I was hoping to maybe build some connections, have some other base, and all this stuff is happening. So it'd be interesting to see what comes of that report, if anyone's going to be held to account for it. They have traced the source of some of the bullets that were retrieved on site, and they match ones that were supplied to the federal army that they had purchased from places like Russia. And so they were able to match using the ballistics reports. And like I said, there were live videos. There were people who were eyewitnesses, people who have absolutely nothing to gain from speaking out and everything to lose. And so more eyes on it, more people being held to account. And that is, so if you haven't seen that, if you're interested at all, maybe just the audio, because some of the footage can be upsetting. But yeah, it's being called fake news, even though that is happening. Okay, I'm not gonna say finish on a lighter note. I've got sort of two things left to talk about. But so as you know, I moved house. I have been buying a lot of stuff. It is my birthday next month, and it's, you know, that feeling where things are sort of coming together. You feel like you have to grow. No, that's fine, John. And Jean, yeah, hello everyone. So it's that sense of needing to grow, having to. It's part of creating a safe place. So for me, the next step in this sort of a recovery journey, the next step of the moving forward, because it's an ongoing journey. Part of why I'm here is to, you know, document the growth and share the example of, you know, what is probably possible. It's by no means the finished article. So part of the moving on process is, you know, getting myself set up in a space that's good, right for the mind, and just feel safe and as part of that journey there. So I've been buying beds. I've never bought one of those before. Yeah, just little things around the house like that. So I'm looking forward to having all that decorated and set up. And just leading on from that into, I feel like I'm all over the place with this last bit, because when I start talking about myself, I get uncomfortable and don't know how to structure it. But that sense that it's going to be important to look back in the mental health space as well, especially as it's getting colder, it's getting darker. I think yesterday was getting dark at like 2 p.m., which is just insane. I know what that time of the year feels like. And so just that sense that, okay, we're going to start having to look after the mental health again, and really make sure that things don't feel scattered, things don't feel aligned, because sometimes the stuff from the outside can be quite a lot. I mean, like we all know from this year, it has been really busy at work as well, and quite intense, and just that sense of needing to self-care and manage that, and when you don't have the sort of family support that you would like to have, courtesy, the religion being what it is, it's even more important to get those things right. So any tips for anyone, if you are someone that notices that change as well, when the weather changes, any tips, any things that you do to help? I definitely need to get better with sleeping, getting enough sleep, switching off, and just being able to center on the things that are the most important. So I think that's a good thing to wrap up on. Focusing on being able to focus on the things that are the most important, that are going to bring the most in terms of well-being, and being able to be the sort of mom that I want to be in a good place mentally, and just ride it out until the next summer. But yeah, thanks, Jen. Okay, I think that was the last thing that I have on there. I'm not going to go too much into the mental health thing, but yeah, it's just, when as someone that has been, I think this is probably the longest stretch maybe out of therapy for the last 10 years or so. So when you just get that sense, okay, it's time to pay attention to this again, because we want to keep things balanced. We want to keep things going well. Thanks, Jen. I definitely need the positive vibes, and just figuring out what is the right thing to sort of go next, to focus on, to make sure that we stay well. We stay well. Okay, let's look at some of these comments here, and let me put the link again in case this is a link anyone wants to jump in and have a chat. So what have we got? We've got Pilgrim Country. I feel like that means something that I don't know. Let me see. What is Pilgrim Country? Me showing my my ignorance here. Pilgrim Country. Meaning, what does that mean? Okay. Probably John's going to help me out. Oh, I see. Okay. So the first settlers. Okay. Fascinating. Right. Okay. There we go. Right. Child baptism is criminal. Absolutely. In the sense of the sort of responsibility that it puts on a child who is simply not in a position to make such a decision. It's sort of taking on something that's legally binding before you're able to actually know what it means, and you're being held to it, especially in a religion like this one, where there are consequences for not living up to something that you signed up for when you didn't know it. Copeland is a nutter. That's one way to put it. That video of him laughing, it's spooky and funny, and I don't know, but he has an audience. There's someone for everyone. Yes, Pentecostal church is criminal. There are definitely a lot of similarities. There's definitely a lot of similarities there. I get. How do we separate? Because there are good people in there. There are good people. So I think a lot of this, I'll always go for the leadership, because the everyday people, they are most of the time just trying to make sense of things, and they genuinely feel like they have a connection. They genuinely feel like they maybe have had a personal experience as well. And so it's the people that are getting profit from it. It's those people that I'm looking at, I've seen it laugh. It's hard not to laugh. It's like that nervous laughter, Jean. You see it, and you're laughing, but maybe it's just me. You're laughing, but you're scared at the same time. That there are people like this who actually believe this. Oral Roberts in the 1950s. Oh, they have a university, right? Oral Roberts, 1950s. Oh, okay. So it's nothing new. Yes, fortunate. Yes, exactly. The guy walking to and fro is even weirder. Yes, behind Paula White, right? I don't know. What was he walking about for? Who is that guy? I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. And you know what the internet is like. People make memes of things and they add sounds, and there's just some funny ones, but I just went for the plain as it was. Speaking in tongues, yes. In the 4 years I went to mainstream Christianity, that was one thing that I couldn't get into. I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't get into it. Videos are probably doctored. Yeah, possible, but that it's not far-fetched knowing what we know about these people. Jim in the entire election. The entire election was a farce, or some particular person. It's funny. Pagan. Oh, well. What are the practices of paganism? Who knows? Is that something that you switch to as soon as you left the witnesses, or is that something that's come gradually? Or is it just a joke? I'm curious. They did read, so I'm gonna go check out Winston's stuff, I think, because if you can stomach it, you can find the funny bits on it. Keep running on the hamster wheel. Yes, I imagine this is about the JW broadcasting video for this month. That was it. Yeah, it's exhausting to watch. Non-stop grind. Yes, that's what they want the members doing. Okay. No, thank you, John. Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. I hope I do. Even in the moments when it's crazy, being able to focus on what's important, that's going to have the longest term effect. And there is a question I ask myself. There's a question, and it has served well in a lot of cases. Is this thing going to matter in 2 years, in 5 years? If it's not, then it's not worth it. So that is a question that has helped. And so maybe I just need to sit down and do that some more. A lot of people swear by journaling, that helps. I've not really been able to get into it on a consistent basis, but that's probably a good thing. Snow for Thanksgiving. What, you had snow this week? Crazy. It's the leadership. Yes. And the guy behind Paula White was praying his prayer book. Do people still have prayer books? People still have those? Oh, wow. You see, that is the one thing that I don't know if I've mentioned this. I'm sure I have. Growing up, there's this rivalry between Catholics and the witnesses, and I don't just mean on the level of Babylon the Great, World Empire of False Religion. I mean, like, literally, we had a neighbor that was Catholic, and my dad was like, on the micro scale, he really did have something against her. I think part of that was that when at some point in his life he was a Catholic, I think in the village where they were, Catholicism was the religion that maybe came to them when the Europeans showed up and things. In fact, a lot of his family are still Catholic, because, as you know, he's the only one that is a witness in his family. So he has, I guess, that sort of inside knowledge, and he used to mock the catechism. Yeah, so when you say prayer book, that what just got me thinking. But that guy, it just adds to the theater. You have someone who is intensely praying, and you have this guy in shorts. I think he was in shorts, right? And a t-shirt, just sort of pacing back and forth. And angels are being invited from Africa and South America, who, you know, normal Tuesday, normal Tuesday. Those are the things that have made me laugh. Okay, I think that was everything. The time goes so quick. How is it 40 minutes plus already? How have you guys been then? You've all been well? You all been okay? Anyone feeling like coming alive? If not, we can wrap things up. What are you drinking, by the way? If you missed it from the start, I have my great big cup of tea from a giant mug. Yeah, what's left for tonight is to go prepare, do some ironing for the child, his uniform for tomorrow. Just got my washing machine set up yesterday after nearly 2 weeks here, so that was definitely needed. So do some washing. Oh, Jane's got coffee. Cool. Like, I don't know, go for coffee this late in the night, but yeah, definitely go for it. Right, let's see. Paganism is from the ground, whatever ground you have. Oh, okay. Are there different interpretations? To be honest, I've not really looked into it. It's modern atheist. Okay. So is there some sort of belief that there is something or some things that I don't know, control things? Maybe I should look into that. Let's see, opening up to Africa to attract. Yeah. Thank you so much. I've seen a few of your comments recently. Yeah, thank you. I mean, Africa, South America, those are the places where religions like the Witnesses are expanding. You know, I think that's for a combination of factors. You have people who may not have as much exposure to being able to access information as easily. Sometimes materially they don't have as much, and so when these people show up, and if they're anything like the Witnesses, they basically make promises. You know, they promise them things that they have no way of delivering on. And if you're telling people that there's going to be something better, that usually sells. You know, that usually gets a lot of people in. So, yeah, dividing families. Yeah, it's sickening. It's sickening. I don't know if you're referring to just the Witnesses, or you're talking about the general movement of missionaries, whatever you want to call them, going to places to spread their message. It is a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. There's 12 steps, John. 12 steps are kind of all right. Not called, heard it called that before. That interesting. So, okay. I know what I'm going to be looking into later when I have a minute to see what's out there. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of deliveries in the next week of things around the house to make it feel more like home, just be a space that we're going to be really comfortable in, and then, you know, revisit the mind and see what's going on there, really center, planning to take a good amount of time off work around the birthday weeks and things, just to spend some time thinking and strategizing. And yeah, anyway, that's it from me. I am not gonna keep you for too long. It's the time just flies. I don't know where it goes. Well, look after yourselves. Stay well. We are nearly at the end of this year at last. We are coming out of a second lockdown next week, which should be good for a lot of people who are being impacted by this. And families have been allowed to meet in up to 3 households for Christmas, which was better than what it would have been if there was no change. So, that's a step in a good direction. I know there's still a lot of people concerned. The numbers are still, where would want them to be, but it's a mixed bag. I keep saying I'm finishing, and then I start talking about something else. What am I like? Okay, so John says, I built on a higher power of your device. Okay. Higher power. Okay. Definitely need to look into this. All right, as if we're going off now, so I'm gonna let you go. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Let's have a good month in December. Yes, let's have a good month. Yeah, that's fine. Usually a lot of people do tend to catch up. So yeah, when you catch up, leave me a comment, say hi, let me know you've seen it. And yeah, look after yourself. I'm going to, when eventually I can make this live, sort of uploaded on the channel, try and link some for you to catch up. Let me see, where should I put it? I'll say here. Yeah, I'll say here. Don't want to cover my very, very fake and very nice flower vase under there. All right, take care, everyone. Bye. Bye, John. Bye.